this is Lena from Bespoke Craft Designs. This is my first video for a really long time. It's about 9 months since I posted my last video. I actually only did 2, and then due to illness and 1 or 2 other little bits, I haven't been able to post for quite some time. It took me a long while to get back into crafting, really. With the way things are at the moment, I've had a bit more time at home and being able to do more crafting again, and thought it was time to get going. In this time to tidy my craft room and sort out, and I've realised how many unfinished projects I've got on the go, because I start one thing and then go into something else. So I had a paper pad. It was a little bit thicker than paper. It's like a real thin card, and it's 12 by 12 sheets, and they're all sort of botanical, and I'm not sure how else I would have used them, so I've made some little 6 by 6 journals. At the moment I don't sell anything, so what I'm going to use them for, I'm going to use them for while we're all stuck in and we're all in the same boat. I'm going to find something positive. I'm still doing that at the moment, but I haven't put it in a journal. Find something positive about it all, you know, try and think of positive things and stop getting myself so worked up. While we stay at home, we're fairly safe, and just want to sort of do something positive. So I've made these little journals, and I think I've got about 6 or 8 on the go. Literally, I've just folded a 12 by 12 in half and then cut it again to make 6 by 6 little journal. And then I've been using, oh, there's one here, just knowing you are safe is enough. I've put in that one because I'm missing a little grandson, but just knowing he's safe's enough, or as safe as we know. And there's 1 or 2, so I've started writing on them already, but I haven't got them all together. So that was my idea. I'm going to be working on today. So it's got dragonflies on the front, and inside it's got this pattern. I quite like this greeny pattern, so I'm not going to cover this. But what my intention is, where have I put my... Oh, these are the papers that's going to go in it. I've not cut them all down yet. So the first page is going to be an Edith Holden, because there was a little poem on there that I really liked, so I'm going to put that in there. Thought that'll cheer me up when I read that. I really like that. And on this front cover, I'm going to do a little notepad with all little papers in, so I can write down some of my little as I think of things. I'm going to write it in there. And as I say, I do everything I do back into inches. So that's 3.5 inches, or just about 3.5 inches once it's been folded. And all I'm using is, if I can find it, I'm going to just move some of these bits out of my way so that it's not cluttering up. That's one that, as I say, I'm doing at the moment. I've done some of the front covers and some I haven't, because I want to do some bits on camera. I'm determined to get the confidence to start doing more and more on camera. My last 2 videos were just to get me sort of started, and I'd done things that I found quite easy that I enjoyed doing. That wouldn't make me, because as soon as I turn the camera on, I get very tongue-tied and very nervous. I'm all right till the camera turns on. So I'm just going to move my papers out the way so I can work in this. And what this started out as, I've got some here. Oh, got a load here. I'll move those out the way. It was a law book, and it's a very old book. The pages are quite flimsy, so I've glued 2 together and gessoed them, and I've been using them to soak up different paints and things when I've been using them. I think this one's those micro powders, you know, the like pigment powders. I think they're magicals, because I can see there's bits of glitter in that one, and I probably had a bit left and I've just used them. I think that one's probably watercolour. I've just dabbed it as I had some left. Some of them will probably be distress inks. And then I've gone over them with a stencil and a little tiny bit of stamping, just so that the writing is very pushed to the very back. You can't read what it says because some of the bits in the law book you wouldn't want to be having in a journal. So there's quite a few of them that I do today. It's exactly the same. It's just bits of colours that I've dabbed and picked up. It's got a bit of coffee dyeing on it as well, and then I've probably tried some stamps and stamped on it a little bit, and these ones in the darker colour are stencils. So I thought, well, I'll start with that one. Sometimes I use this as my inside bit of the booklet, but on this occasion I'm going to do this as the outside bit. And then inside I've just used another book page just to thicken it, and this is just like a black and white image that I've just put on there just to cover the, as I say, cover the wording. And what I intend to do is make a little booklet to go in the inside of that, and then that'll go in the front cover like that. So it's only that bit and that bit that we're going to concentrate on doing something with, and then the pad will be in there. So I'm just going to journal cover out the way for now. Make sure I've got this. Have I got a? I have. I'll just get a nice crisp line if I can here, and then I'll gather some. Oh, let me move. I've got bits all over here. Let me have a look. So I want to put some. I'm just going to put some papers together. I always, it's just something I like to do, always use some original paper in mine. I love the texture of the papers, and I just like to put a little bit in. Don't use great big pieces, but when I get some originals, I always photocopy them as well for different projects, but then I like to put a bit of the original paper in. And I'm just gathering, as I'm chatting, I'm just gathering some bits of paper together. And what I've decided to do, sometimes I sew them, but I just find sometimes if I've done a lot of papers together, it's a little bit brutal on my sewing machine. So I've been hand sewing. So in the back of my papers that I gather together, I always do a little one like this, where I've just got a piece of card, very thin, flimsy card, folded it over, and then I've hand sewed these just to give a bit of another look on it, and I make some little tags to put in there, and then put this at the back of my papers. So I'm just going to gather my papers together, and I always have this sort of almost at the back or at the back. So on this one, because then obviously if you're flipping this one up, everything falls out. So I'm going to put that on there, gather some papers while I'm chatting. Quite like that one. I'm just going to put that one on there. It's obviously quite thin, this. Again, I'm going to be in inches. Sorry, I'm going to be in inches. It's 2.5 the width. It's not very wide, but it's nice just for making little notes. And oh, I think I can probably, let me just make sure that's not going to be too long for my book. Yeah, I might have to just trim a couple of the edges off, because I think that's the size that I want it to be. So if anything goes any longer, I shall trim them off. What else have I got here? Oh, I've got a bit of that. Oh, I quite like that. Bit of a different. And I have been sewing right through all these, hand sewing, but it is a bit tough. So if I want to hand sew, I just hand sew the top one, and then and that's what I'm going to do today. If I've got a needle full, have I got a needle full? Let's have a look. Oh, I have. I've got some. So this is the, oh, that's not an original. This is the original. So So I'm going to use a little bit of this. I think have I put some, oh it's here. This is an original one as well that I've used. So I'm going to put a bit of that just at the front there. It's just the way I like to do them. I just like a bit of original in. Will I do that way? Or I'll do that way and put the original bit underneath. And then this is going to be my top bit. I just want a bit of this. I'll do that like that. That's another original bit, but I won't use that one in this case. So I've just gathered one or two of my bits together, and then I want a little bit of something or other, a bit of lace or something. I want that just to put on the top. And then either you can glue them down, sew them down. As I say, I've been hand sewing them when I'm sat watching telly tonight. I don't mind that I'm going right through all of them, but on this occasion I'm not going to go right through all of them. So all I'm going to do is just put that on there. And I'm not a big sewer, either on the machine or oh, sorry if you can hear that. The dog's just come to tell me he wants something. He's just pushed the door open. You can just wait a minute. You're all done. You don't need anything, do you? So, actually, I didn't want that. So do either blanket stitch or over stitch or just running stitch. I'm not brilliant at anything. I don't do it particularly tidy. It takes me longer if I'm going through all the papers. That's the only reason I'm not. But it just gives a bit of an effect, that's all. If I'm doing it on the machine, I try to do zigzag or something just to give it a bit of an effect. Not particularly neat. Oh, that's brilliant. I've pulled out my cotton now. Oh, that's really good. I always have them by the time, oh, I've done that really quickly. By the time I've thudded it, I've got frustrated with it and gone on to something else. Especially if I'm watching telly and it's a little bit dark in there, I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm not going to take too long doing this, hopefully. I just wanted it to give a bit of an effect. And what I've done, I've actually got ordinary cotton. It's not anything special, just because I haven't got any. And I've put a green and like a bluey green together, just to give it a bit of an effect. So I'm just going to do a couple on this end, just so I don't lose it. That's it. And hopefully that looks as if I've gone through all the papers together. Get rid of my needle. Oh, he's settled down now. He'll have heard me talking and wonder who I'm talking to. I think we've got company or something. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure they're all together. And then I'm going to fasten this one down. So as I say, normally I would go through them all so that they all clip together, but they will stay together when they're in the book, when you're flipping it through, because I'm going to glue it down. So there's that one there. So I think I might just turn that up and just do a raggy bit there. That's it. Right, I'm going to get this front bit glued on. It'll keep popping off and it'll annoy me. Glue stick or Fabri-Tac for anything thicker. When I'm doing it into the book, I will use fabric. Hopefully I'm on screen. And then I want to put an original date on somewhere. So this paper was from a solicitor's, and he'd itemised all different things. It looks as if it's actually been, because obviously everything was handwritten years ago, and the paper's beautiful. It's got the name of the solicitors in the back of this. I've got sheets and sheets of it, so that's why I don't mind using a little bit of it. And it looks like this piece has crossed a lot of things out, but he's got some dates. So this one's the 23rd of July 1900. So I want to put that on somewhere. So I'm just going to move these out the way and just click. Again, because it's easier to sew it just on one layer, I've sewn it like that, and then I'm going to stick it down and it'll look as if it's been sewn together. Some of them I have sewn together, but they were so stiff to do. I thought, oh, I can't do this. I'm going to do it individually and then glue it down. So I'll just do that now. Then I can have a look at what I'm going to do to cover the booklet. As I say, I'm going to do a bit on each one of the journal, and I want to make the journals as with the papers I've got as much as I can. I do use a lot of digital kits, and especially at the moment it's quite a good idea, but I didn't want to use any more until I got rid of some of the bits that I've got. I've had to make a rule that I can't do anything else until I get some, because I've got that much stuff. Every time I see a new digital kit or I see the artists that I like to watch, I've just bought a few more just recently, and I've got them downloaded, but I don't want to start using them because I do watch Rachel from Roxy Creations. I watch Gail Augustinelli and Artie Mays and Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah, and I love to watch them, and I get lots of inspiration from all of them. They're all wonderful. Do anything if I don't. As I say, I normally hand sew all the way through them all, but so it just take me a second longer just to do this. So where I've bent it in half, I'm just literally going over the crease and just putting some of this glue on just to keep them all together while I get them bent over properly. I don't want to put it too far down, it's won't be able to flip the pages up. And then just fold that, get my crease. And then what I want to just do is, I'm going to bend those back up again now so they don't move. I want to put something on here, and somewhere I want to put this date on, because I really like doing these with the dates. It's just something I do. I just like to put an original date. If I'm using a really old book, I don't put the full copyright details on. I'll just use a bit of the date or something, but I do like to do that if I've used some of those papers. And like from using letters, I like to always put a little bit. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet. I'm just looking at bits I've got around me. I don't want to use any more of that letter because I've used quite a bit of it. Let me just have a look what I've got here. I'm hoping I can stay in screen. I've made several videos to try things out and been nowhere in screen. It's these ladies that do it all the time, they make it look so easy. I'm just grabbing some stuff out to see what I want to put in my little booklet. If I can find something I like. Oh, that's a nice one. Like that. Let me just have a look. What's that? Ooh. Oh, this, I had a real old book. In fact, it's this book that I'm using, and the spine was crumbling. And that's a bit of the spine, like the leathery bit of the spine. I might have to find somewhere. I had that and then I lost it. I found it again. Oh. So these tiny little bits that you keep, and then when you want them you can't find them. I've got a little pot there with some bits in. I'll see if there's anything in there. And let me have a look what I've got. Have a look. I think I might do something naturey, and I like the mushroom, but I'd have to put something behind it. I love that big flower. And vintage photo. I don't know why I've put that over there. Couldn't find that. I'm only doing the edges of this because I don't want the white bit shown, because these are just images out of books that I've cut out. I've probably used part of this for something else, and just love roses, and I love lemon and cream and peach roses, and thought, oh, I can't get rid of that. So I'm just having to be careful, because obviously I've just glued that side of there. I like that, but it's a bit too big. Is there anything I can cut off there? I wonder if I can cut that bottom off and use that. I like that. Let me just cut that bottom off there. And use that as one of my tags. As I say, I'm trying to be really not waste too much time, because as I'm just using what's about me to get. I've scooped a load of stuff out that I want to tidy up. And my daughter makes me laugh, because she says to me, I'll tidy it for you, Mum. I'll bring a black bag in and I'll get rid of it all. So she's not allowed in the craft room, because I'm sure she'd just throw everything away. So they know. My craft room is so small, and there's only room for one person at a time. But my daughter has a little dog, and we have a dog, and they both somehow managed to get in here and talk about social distancing, because the two of them, my dog doesn't tolerate her getting too near him, so he gets very cross if she gets nearer to me than he does. He's all right with her, he's not nasty or anything with her, but he just stays his distance away from her. He finds somewhere to hide to get out of the way, and she goes looking all over for him. I'm not sure after all that, I'm not sure I really like that. I'll cover that before I decide what else I'm going to do. I'm just going to put some of this coffee dye paper on here. This has been something that I'd printed out wrong by the look of it, and then I've gone back and printed on the other side. I'll just get that bit of paper on there. I think I'm just going to use that as it is, because I didn't really like that when I was putting them on. I like that better on there. Do I like that better on there? What about that with that? No, because then you can't see that as clearly. Do I want that? Oh, I think I'm going to put that on there. I like that there. And you know what? I've just lost that little butterfly that I had with this. Can't be very far. Put that up there. No, just this one. This is actually vintage paper, but it still shows like an edge, because it's like a beigey colour that they've used. So I'm going to put that on there. I do like that. Bits of the original. What else have I got in here? Anything else that I like? Oh, I've got some stamps there. We'll look at them in a minute. Still got the front to do, so I'm faffing about here. I was going to say, I was doing some sewing, and I didn't turn my sewing machine off. And luckily I had my hands out the way, and I didn't realise the dogs had come in. And as I say, my dog had tried to get away from my daughter's dog, and he'd got that close to my feet, all of a sudden he sat on the pedal of my sewing machine, and of course it set off on its own. Frightened me. I wondered what had happened. I couldn't believe that it set off, and I didn't know what I'd done. And he jumped, so it made him jump. Well, I've just lost that butterfly. That's amazing. It'll turn up, and it can't be very far. It can only just be somewhere here. So, do I like that on there? Oh, I did like the butterfly, and I don't know where the butterfly's gone. I won't just have another one, because, as I say, I'm just dragging stuff out. It was just a side bit of... Oh, this is the trouble, you get stuff and then you lose it. If you can see it, then I do apologise. So, I don't think I want any of that. I'm just going to put that there, I think. Just because I can't find the butterfly. If I find it, I'll put it somewhere else. I will use it. It will come in. So I'm just sticking this down. Yeah, so the sewing machine went wild on its own. So I do not leave it on anymore. Note to self, don't leave your sewing machine on. Well, I don't know why I had really. I must have just been doing something, then going to go back and do something else. But anyway, he doesn't get, if he sees the pedal out now, he doesn't get too near the pedal. He just stays out its way. Yeah, and then that will go in that little slot like that. I don't know whether I want anything else in there. I think one's enough because it'll make it too bulky. So that's going to be like that. And then that's just the front of there. I'll just keep that to one side. I'll put my glue on it, as long as it's not in your way and annoying you with everything showy. I shall obviously look back at this video and see what I do differently if I do decide to post it, of course. That's the other thing. I might decide not to. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to glue this down and then just do a little bit on the front. So I'm not going to put that in for a minute because that'll be easier to sort out the front. So I'm just going to put a bit of something on here just to bring to the front. I had some, did I have them here? I had some images that I liked, so I thought I could cut round in. Just bringing stuff out a bit so I can see them. Oh, I found a little bird. Where did I find that bird? For some reason, I just fell in love with this bird on it. Well, for some reason, it's absolutely beautiful. But it's one I've printed off, and it's supposed to be a postage stamp. I don't want it as a postage stamp. I don't know whether to tear around that and use that, because I do like that. I've got some daisies here that I've torn off from something else. As I say, I'm trying to use everything. I do quite like that. And the colours of this look amazing. What else have I got? Have I got anything else? I've got my mushroom, of course, but he looks a bit lost in that background. Oh, let me just have a look. Do quite like him, but I'm not sure. I think I like that. It's a full image. I wonder if I can. What have I got here? Just thinking to myself, what does that look like? I'll put that on there. Let's just have a look at this, see what this looks like. Oh, I'd like to put that little bit of... Oh, something stuck under there. Right, how am I going to do this then? Just tear it down a little bit without cutting the wings off. Of course I have done. Use my nails to cut this down. Just thought rather than try to do it with a ruler, get a ruler in, which I always go mad when I get the ruler in it. So try it like this. See what this looks like. I might not get anybody at all watching the video. I mean, I'd be over the moon if I just got a few people watching it. Yeah, I quite like that. But I am going to have to put that little bit on because I just like that. Put that on there. Just wondering, how can I use this? I just really like that. I'm wondering if... Because what I've done, when I folded it over, I've folded one shorter than the other. So I like to put something down here, either some washi tape or some lace or something. But I haven't got anything like that in front of me. But these are borders, and it's out of a book, and it's had some borders, and I've already got one torn off. So I just thought I can try and use that. Let me just see if that will. I'll have to have a torn edge there, won't I? Sorry, I'm trying to keep in frame. Let me just, I want it to just go round the corner a little bit, so because this bit's going to be stuck down. So let's see what that looks like before I glue it down. Oh, I do quite like, oh, I do like that. Oh yeah, I do like that. And then put that on there. I really like that. I'm still wondering where that butterfly's gone. Yeah, that's annoying me. Right, so let me just get this one on here, and then I'll cut the edges off. Use my glue. Oh, I didn't put the lid on the glue stick. Right. My hands are getting a bit sticky and they're a bit dirty, and I don't want them to dirty my paper. So I always have a wet cloth at the side of me just to... I do use baby wipes normally, but I'm running very low for my craft room, and I don't want to be buying them for my craft room when, you know, there's people who need them for other things. So I thought, well, I'm going to use a cloth instead. I do always have a cloth in here anyway, usually for my hands, but I usually use for the craft side of things. Let me just do that. Open. Just cut this edge off. If I'm off screen, I often just leave these until they've completely dried and then they don't stick to your scissors, but I'm trying to do it totally right. So that'll be the inside bit like that. I like that. And then I think I'm just going to put that on there. I don't want it to be too thick because this has obviously got to go inside the little journal. So I'm going to glue that on there. And glue that little bit on the bottom. And just put that back in. Like that. Straight would be preferable, wouldn't it? Folder there just to make sure I've got no crumples in it, and do the same on it. That's it. Quite like it. Oh, I still do like you, bird. I think you're going to have to go in there as well. Right, this is going to have to be done with Fabri-Tac. It's quite thick. It's so this is the piece out of the book, and it's, I don't think it'll make it too bulky, but it is quite thick. So let's just have a look. Let's just get this down. And try for once to remember to put my glue back on. And I'm just going to put that on that bottom. I don't know what that looks like on screen. Quite like that. And then when it opens up, it will have the little booklet in there. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to just put my Fabri-Tac on the back of this just to Can you see what I'm doing? Gosh, do hope I am in screen. Sometimes I've watched others and I've got frustrated because, not that I'd ever say anything to them because I'm not that type of person, but I think, oh, it's not in screen, I can't see what they're doing. Yeah, I know why now, it's so difficult. I'm just pressing that down a second just to make sure that's in. Yeah, so that's the little booklet in there. And then at the back, there's just the page at the back there that I'm going to put my tag in. See if it's okay now, if it's stuck down enough to put the tag in. And get it in. It's still a bit wet, so it's a bit soggy, yeah. And then that'll go in there like that. That's now stuck down in there. And then, oh, wrong way around. That's the inside cover. And that's the outside bit. Everything I am just going to do is just slightly do these edges, just in case there is any white bits showing. I don't think there is, but just check. Might be on that edge actually there. There isn't much on this because, as I say, I think I'm using the dry one. It's crumbling because I use it on my stencils and it's a makeup thing and it's crumbling. I'll have to get a new one out. I still need to use him. I'm going to put him on there. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm just going to tear him down. I think he can have a bit of this behind. Because it was either that or a mushroom. And I didn't know whether to use the mushroom or the bird. But I love... I like the mushroom too. But I think it's going to be the bird. I'm going to try and get this edge off if I can. This is very thin copy paper. So, oh, if you can, do you know, if you can hear that noise, I don't know whether you can, but that's my dog snoring. He's sat right under my chair and he's really snoring. Oh, Oscar. I'm not used to it, you know. I don't take any notice, and I just realised that probably you can hear him. Oh dear me. Oski is snoring on YouTube. Goodness me. I'm going to put that bit on there. He's my little friend. He goes everywhere with me. Well, with us when we go out and about. He goes everywhere in CAR. I better not say that. That will wake him up. He's missing his journeys at the minute, bless him. But it can't be helped. Just crumple that up a bit so it gives a bit of an effect. Oh, I shall have to. I'll show you where my other for goodness sake. I'm just going to use another bit of this so it doesn't bring all the bits. I can just see how. Oh yeah, there isn't much coming on there at all. Let's have a look. Oh, it is. It's not too bad there. That's really not too bad. Paper's very thin, flimsy, so. I'm hoping this is my old one, so if it's my new one, I've obviously dried it up somehow. I couldn't lift the lid off it. Oh, that's better. And I'm just going to put him on there like that because I really like him. And that's used up lots of little bits. I don't know whether I might need some Fabri-Tac on that over the top of the gauze, or I'll see how that goes. If it doesn't stick, I might have to go back in with Fabri-Tac and just stick that down. So that's today's project. If I can find my booklet, I've put down somewhere my little paper. Oh, sorry, did I wake you up? Oh, sorry. I've just run the chair back and made him jump. Oh, goodness me. What am I like, eh? Did I make you jump there? Well, I have actually put down, here it is, the front cover. There we go. So that is going to go inside the front cover. Like, it is quite bulky. It's not massively bulky because I ain't going to have a lot of pages in here, so it's not going to be massively bulky. So I'm going to just, where's the middle? It's there. I'm going to just glue this into here on this back. So what I've done is I've folded the edges over of the bits that I've done on the front. Let me make sure I'm in camera. I'm just going to fabric tack this down now to the actual cover. And that's my first thing done. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll just get this in here. So I do apologise for all my ums and my ums because I'm fairly nervous about it. It hasn't got out there yet, so we'll see what it's like. Let's have a look. But if just a few people watch it and are inspired by it, I'd be absolutely over the moon. So I'm just going to put that in the middle of there. I should put something heavy on that just to make sure it holds that down. If I can find something heavy, or just seeing some glue or something. And fabric tack does give you a few minutes. If like me then I didn't have it straight, you can just go back in. So I'm just going to leave that on there a minute and I'll put something heavy on top of it. So that's my little project for today. As I say, I hope you like it, and I shall be back very shortly with another page within the books or one of the other little journals. So thank you ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Keep safe, and I'll be back again soon. Bye for now. Bye.